Thank you so much. You that is listening to me. There is a quick one that I want us to discuss this very moment. And what is that I want us to discuss is about what is going on precisely in Lagos, Nigeria, and I don't know whether it is also going, whether the same issue is happening in other states in Nigeria. But I am in Lagos. I want to talk about the one that is happening in Lagos. What is that I want to talk about that is happening in Lagos? I mean how a landlady and landlords suffer tenants just because they have built their own house and the tenant is coming to rent that house, and the kind of money that they call for him or her that you are going to pay. That is what I want to talk about. I mean the increment on house rentage that is being done by landlord and landlady with the agent, which is very very bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. I want to talk about it. How can somebody who is staying in Ajegule in Lagos, and a landlord or a landlady is telling a tenant that what he should be paying a rent is 53,000 per month just for two-bedroom apartment? 53,000 per month a year, that he should be paying 700,000 per year. You are paying 700,000 per year for two-bedroom apartment in Ajegule. I'm not talking about in VIO or in Festac, which we can say is a big man area. I am talking about in the AG City, the ghetto himself. Landlady is telling a tenant to pay 700,000 per year, and then pay agent an agreement fee 300,000, making it ₦1,000,000. And not even though that, you are not even paying only 1 year. What they will be asking you for is that you are going to pay for 2 years, which means only on rentage. For you to get a new house, you are going to pay for two-bedroom apartment. You are going to pay $1,400,000 for payment of 2 years, and agent and agreement fee 300,000, which is 1,700,000 in Ajegule. That is where I'm talking about. Now, I want to ask you, landlord, landlady that is asking a tenant to pay 1,700,000 in Ajegule for house rentage, do you even though wish for that tenant to build his own house? How much is that person's salary? Do you think that this person has no test of going to rent a house in Lekki or in Festac? Do you think that the person like it so much for being in Ajegule? Why are we making things to be difficult for ourselves? And I'm using this medium to call on the government. The way government of Lagos State is managing things, mostly in this Baba Sanwo-Olu, Babajide Sanwo-Olu tenure is very bad. Things are not being put into control. With the situation that this country and the states are into now, things should be put under control for the benefit of the masses. How can somebody be having a sleepless night because you want to rent a house, or somebody clearing everything that you have in your account just because you want to rent a house, and you are packing this money to go and give a landlord or a landlady? They will tell you, didn't you know that the market, the building materials in the market are very very costly? Yes, they are very very costly. But I also want to let you know that, except by rentage, if you build a house today, maybe at the cost of 15 million naira, and you want to sell it in next 2 months or in next 1 year, that 15 million naira, I bet you are going to sell it at the rate of 20 million naira. Anything about assets, Anything about fixed asset, things like land, house, they appreciate. The only thing that can depreciate a house is erosion or the place not being developed. So don't tell me that you are trying to collect your money. If you want to collect your money now, if you want to collect your money now, Baba, if you decided to sell that house, it is going to appreciate. Not the amount that you use in building it, you are not going to collect the same amount again. But all these things, we are just doing it to wicked ourselves. We are doing it to wicked one another just because you feel like maybe God has blessed you in one way or the other, and you are now a landlord, which means you must inflict the pains that doesn't the other on others that doesn't have. Because you are a landlord or a landlady that God has blessed, and you build your own house, so other people who are coming to rent in your hand must feel the pain, which is very, very bad. It's a bad thing. Now let's talk about on the living of people in Nigeria today. The means of making life now is very, very poor. The means of earning a living in Nigeria is very, very poor. How much are people getting? Everything are very, very costly. You take a big amount of money and enter into the market. Because of how things are very costly in the market, you buy one or two things, the money has finished. Now you landlord or landlady, because you know that your house as in shelter is one of the basic needs of a man, you want to use it to wicked that same soul. You want to use it to wicked another soul because you know that the person has no choice, that the person must look for a place to lay down his head. That is the reason why you are so eager to wreck down the person. It is very bad. Government should look into these things. Any active government should focus on this. So I am calling on Lagos State government to look into the matter of how landlord and landlady ask people to pay for 2 years rentage, and agent and agreement fee 300k, 400,000. All these things are stealing by tricks. These things are means in which we are using to make life to be difficult for others. What about our nearby countries like Benin Republic? Go to the Benin Republic. If you want to rent a house in Benin Republic, what you are going to pay is 6 months arrears. Only 6 months arrears. And that 6 months arrears that you are paying is what the landlord or the landlady is going to hold down in case if there are some defamation or if there are some bruises that you give to his house while living there. Then when you are vacating, he will come and check. If there are, he will not use the money to do maintenance on his house. If there are not, he will give back your money and you will go. And so long as, say, as a tenant in Benin, you have paid these arrears, other coming months, what you'll be paying is 2 months, sometimes 1 month, sometimes 6 months, according to what your power can carry. Nothing like agent and agreement fee. Nothing like you're going to pay for 2 years. But why is it like this in Nigeria? Why do we keep taking advantage of others that has not made it? That's the reason why bad things keep on, spreading every day. Why will somebody not accept any offer that comes his or her way? Because yes, you have already made life, to be very, very difficult for him, because he knows that life in Nigeria is very, very expensive. So he is going to find everybody who is in Nigeria now are looking for all means to meet up for life. So how would you blame somebody who's venture into kidnapping in order to make a living? How are you going to blame somebody who venture into robbery in order to make a living? You too, who is collecting 2 years rentage, asking for somebody in a juggler to pay 1,700,000 for your house in 2 years rentage. You are also a criminal. Yes, I said it. You are a criminal. Why making life to be so hard on the people? Please, I want to tell anybody who is watching this video at this very point, share it. I want this video to get to the Lagos state government and other priorities. These are the things that should be taken into control. These are the things in which Fashola was fighting. Fashola made it known to all the landladies and the landlords that if you cannot take 1G rentage in your house, that you should leave it. And if you take 2 years and anybody create the awareness that your house will be seized. That's how things to be regulated in a state or in a country. We need to put things into regulation. Even though market prices in the market commodities, price commodities in the market should be put into regulation. Things are getting higher. Price of things are getting higher on a daily basis. What is going on in this country? What is going on in this state? Even though I want to talk about another thing again. Another thing I want to talk about is how landlord and landlady, some of them steal from tenants by tricks. You are very, very sure, you have it in mind that you want to sell your house and you still have the guts, the mind to rent it to somebody who will not stay up to a year or 2 years. Before you know what is happening, they will bring a paper of eviction and the tenant will be hearing that the house has been sold. You want to tell me that you don't know, you as a landlord or as a landlady, or you people owe a house that was being inherited by your mother or by your father, that you want to sell it, then you will still use that house to go and rent to somebody, which in a year time, the same person will be looking for another money to go and rent another house. All these things are things which government should be put into consideration, because this is a way which the masses are using to molest other masses, and it's very bad. It's very bad with the situation that we are, with this current situation that we are facing in this country. Things should be put under control. Someone will please come to our aid. And if you are a landlord or a landlady who is into this act, please remove yourself from it. That you have a house today does not mean you should inflict pains on others that does not have. There was a time when you too was a tenant. If others treated you the way you are treating people today, would you like it? Please, wherever you are watching this my video, please share it to others until it gets to people that will be able to help us to put this thing to stop. Because this is something that we must have to do in this kind of critical time. People are suffering. People are suffering because house rentage is not the only problem that a man has or a family has. When you rent a house, you will furnish it. When you furnish it, you will paint it. You will do other things. You will still eat. You will still put shelter, as in clothing. You still have children whom you are going to send to school. You still have other family problems. Those who are at home waiting for you to be sending money. And now, how much is your salary? Government, these things are things that you should think about in terms of humanitarian, because all these things are things, daily needs that comes around. If somebody should use all the whole houses, all the whole money that you have to go and rent a house, what about other problem that is facing that person? Please, we should put these things under control. Every house every landlord should collect 1 year rentage. and not in a escalating form. How can you collect two-bedroom apartment in a Jegule for 53,000? How much is the person, salary? Please, all these things should be put under control by government. Thank you so much. Share this video and like it. Let people see it until it gets to the people, until it gets to those who will help us. May God help us all in Jesus' name. Amen.